there's a feeling of peace and comfort that has come across the country, and the media are not knowing how to deal with it. They just don't. The normie revolution is here. How do we know? Because the polling shows it. So President Trump is currently riding in the approval ratings, according to CBS, at 53%. 53% for President Trump. According to the media, he's doing all these crazy, insane, radical, unthinkable things. He's at 53% approval rating. That is the highest approval rating Donald Trump has ever had, ever in his entire political career. 53%. Why? Because he's doing the things he promised he would do. And by the way, the age breakdown here is astonishing. And here's the age breakdown in terms of approval rating for President Trump. For those above the age of 65, he's at 50-50. For those aged 45 to 64, he is at a 56% approval rating, plus 12. For those aged 30 to 44, he's at 52-48, plus 4. Here's the crazy one. Aged 18 to 29, 55% approval rating for President Trump for those aged 18 to 29. And you hear that ringing alarm bell? You hear that giant klaxon that is sounding for Democratic hopes and dreams? 18 to 29, America's young people, 18 to 29, have a 55% approval rating for President Trump. Why? Because he's counterculture. The left was so dominant culturally that the counterculture became this kind of 1980s era, classic patriotism, American pie and motherhood version of America. And now if you're a rebel, if you want to be one of the cool kids, put on the red hat. It's rebellious now. Now, this was coming for a while because the left was so censorious, so over the top, so just frankly annoying that everyone got annoyed with them. That's how you end up with a 10% plus 10 approval rating for President Trump among people 18 to 29. By the way, among white voters, he's at a 61% approval rating. Among black voters, he's at a 33% approval rating, which sounds terrible until you realize that pretty much every Republican rides at like a 10% approval rating. 33% approval rating among black voters. Among Hispanic voters, he's at a 49% approval rating in the CBS News poll. That's insane. These are wild numbers for President Trump. Why? Well, because people perceive President Trump to be moving with alacrity to keep his promises. Again, I think the contrast between Joe Biden and Donald Trump has helped Trump so insanely much. Joe Biden was a dead person who apparently didn't like many of the things about the country and farmed out all of his policymaking to his wokest advisors and then was unable to stay awake most of the day. Meanwhile, President Trump is the opposite. According to that new CBS News poll, here's the percentage of 18 to 29-year-olds. I mean, these are young Americans, okay? 18 to 29. 71% of people 18 to 29 describe Trump as tough. 65% describe him as energetic. 63% describe him as effective. And 62% describe him as focused. These are young people. 58% describe him as competent. Only 35% describe him as compassionate. Because guess what? Compassionate went out with Joe Biden in the sense that fake compassion is the brand of the Democratic Party. And maybe Americans are tired of that stuff. Maybe what Americans want are some hard truths, some realities, and some normalcy. 70% of all Americans say that Trump is doing what he promised in the campaign, including 68% of 68% of Hispanics and 58% of Black Americans. That's crazy. These are insane numbers. Insane. By the way, 59% of Americans approve of President Trump's program to find and deport immigrants who are in the United States illegally. That includes a majority of every single age group. That includes 66% of whites, 49% of blacks, and 49% of Hispanics. It includes, by the way, 23% of Democrats and 59% of independents. President Trump has never had better numbers than this ever. And some of that is due to President Trump. Obviously, he's a once-in-a-generation unique talent, clearly. He's a historic figure, and the stuff that he's doing right now is going to make him one of the most seminal figures in American history. Truly. What he's been doing over the course of the first 20 days. We are 20 days in. The first 20 days of his administration alone is making him one of the most important presidents of our lifetime. And it's not particularly close, actually. Like, if you were going to rank important presidents of my lifetime, so I was born during the Reagan administration. So you'd probably still have to put Reagan on top because the Cold War ended because of Reagan, and the entire American economy was reshifted because of Ronald Reagan. But after that, it's basically Reagan, Obama, and Trump. And Trump is racing so much of what Obama was able to do in destroying many important facets of the country. You have to put Trump above Obama at this point, which is amazing. So you're talking about the two most seminal presidents of the last 50 years in America are Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump. I mean, that's what you'd have to say this early on. Now, again, we're super early. We have to see where all of this goes. But President Trump is moving. He's moving fast, and he really is not taking any prisoners. We'll get to more on this in a moment. First, did you know that American homeowners have over $32 trillion in equity? Criminals are targeting it with a growing scam the FBI calls house stealing. Scammers can transfer your title out of your name using a one-page document they file at the county. Then they can take out loans against it or even sell it behind your back. The most concerning part? You won't find out about it until collection or foreclosure notices start arriving in your mailbox, leaving you with a financial and legal nightmare. The best way to protect your equity is with Home Title Lock's exclusive $1 million triple lock protection. This service offers 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts, and if fraud should occur, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title. Our own senior video editor, Adam, trusts them to protect his home. You should do the same. When was the last time you checked on your title? Well, never, which is exactly what scammers are counting on. The good news is we've partnered with Home Title Lock to offer you all 25% off their services. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use my promo code Shapiro25. Save 25%. You'll also get a free title history report to ensure you're not already a victim. Make sure you check out the $1 million triple lock protection details when you get there. Link below. That's HomeTitleLock.com. Promo code Shapiro25. HomeTitleLock.com. Promo code Shapiro25. So President Trump did a pre-Super Bowl show. He, unlike Joe Biden, who avoided it because he couldn't actually carry on a conversation, his face hole no longer moved properly. President Trump is perfectly alive and willing to talk. Here he was during the pre-Super Bowl show saying you can feel the country taking on new life.
You know, you are going to be the first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl. It's a big day for America, always is. What made you want to do it?
Well, first of all, I'm very surprised to hear that. I would have assumed many presidents came, but I think just the spirit of the country's taken on a whole new life. I thought it would be a good thing for the country to have the president be at the game.
I mean, it's an iconic day.
It's an iconic day. It's going to be a great game, two great teams, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, again, President Trump is a happy camper, and there's a new mood in President Trump. During his first administration, I think he was so frustrated, properly so, that his administration was being thwarted at every turn by legal idiocies, the Mueller investigation, various impeachments. You could feel the frustration rolling off him in waves. You don't get that from President Trump. There's a calm about President Trump that is unique, and that means that he's actually incredibly focused. So President Trump spoke about the trade deficit during this pre-Super Bowl show. He said, one of the reasons that we're not rich is because other countries have been taking advantage of us.
If all goes to plan, when do you think families will be able to feel prices going down, groceries, energy, or are you kind of saying to them, hang on, inflation may get worse until it gets better?
No, I think we're going to become a rich... Look, we're not that rich right now. We owe $36 trillion. That's because we let all these nations take advantage of us. Same thing, like $200 billion with Canada. We owe $300. We have a deficit with Mexico of $350 billion. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let that happen.
Okay, now, I think he's wrong about trade deficits. Okay, trade deficits are not a thing. Again, you have a trade deficit with your grocery store. You have a trade deficit with everyone with whom you actually do business. If you buy a product from Amazon, you have a trade deficit with Amazon. However, he is right that other countries, particularly China, have taken advantage of the United States. They've taken advantage of our free trade systems, of our free speech systems. Whether we are talking about them taking advantage of free speech by using propagandistic information gathering spyware like TikTok, or whether we're talking about China taking advantage of our free trade systems in order to essentially steal our intellectual property and subsidize slave labor in their own country. Those are things that have taken advantage of the American laborer and have destroyed some swaths of the American economy. That happens to be true. Well, President Trump was on the plane to the Super Bowl, and he signed an EO, a proclamation, for the Gulf of America, which again, I love this kind of stuff. Here's President Trump on Air Force One, signing an executive order about the Gulf of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention out the right side of the aircraft. Air Force One is currently in international waters, for the first time in history, flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America. Please enjoy the flight, and we are now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
Wow, he did that well. That's a big...
about make America great again, right? That's what we care about. Okay, here we go.
He's having too much fun. Huffington Post was bothering President Trump on Air Force One about a tweet by J.D. Vance, which we'll get to in a moment. And President Trump couldn't help but dunk on Huffington Post.
Vice President suggested that if the Supreme Court rules in a way that you don't like, they can just enforce it by themselves. Do you agree with that?
I don't know even what you're talking about. Neither do you. Who are you with? Who? No wonder. I thought they died. Are they still around? I haven't read them in years. I thought they died.
Just dunking hard on Huffington Post over there. Are you tired of the lies and the twist of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.